we've just witnessed the signing of the memorandums of understanding between Egypt and the EU. What makes this summit a genuine watershed moment? In what ways does the emerging partnership differ from the more transaction-based interactions of previous years?
Good evening, and thanks for having me. Indeed, this signing refers to the deep-rooted relationship between Egypt and the European Union. This relationship based on a strategic partnership between the two sides many decades ago. So I think the Europeans are connected to the Egyptian influence in the area, not only in the Middle East and Africa and the Arab world, but also in the Mediterranean arena. We cannot forget the Organization for Gas established by Egypt and hosted by Egypt as well, which very deeply affected the energy security of the Europeans under the war between Ukraine and Russia. In addition to that, we cannot ignore the Egyptian role of controlling the illegal migration from South the Mediterranean and Africa into Europe. In addition to that, the Egyptian role in fighting terrorism, and as well as the geopolitical influences of the disputes and the military disputes around the world. So I think this summit and the memorandum will deep or indeed the relationship between Egypt and the European Union in different sides, strategically, economically, and culturally as well.
Yes. Well, as you've mentioned, the signing of those memorandums of understanding, they focus mainly as well on the SMEs. Now, how pivotal is the EU's backing for the small and medium enterprises in driving the expansion and competitiveness of Egypt's private sector?
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, in his discourse, he referred to the reform in the economic system in Egypt and the law as well. Now Egypt become an attractive environment and an attractive arena for the foreign investments. Now Egypt has many attractive elements for investment and economic cooperation. In addition to the infrastructure, you have a very attractive laws for investment and also raw materials, markets, and Egypt also is the gate for the whole African market through COMESA and some other trade agreements with the African countries. So I think such memorandum will indeed the cooperation and the benefits for both sides.
Yes. Well, do you anticipate any policy shifts or deliverables as a result from the summit?
Yeah, sure. We cannot ignore the political dimensions, especially during the conflict in Gaza and the Israeli aggression against the Palestinian, and the European role in the reconstruction and to guarantee the ceasefire now in Gaza. I think President al-Sisi will prepare how could the Europeans participate in all efforts in Gaza in the three phases of this agreement guaranteed by President Donald Trump. So I think the Europeans are very much influential in that sense, in cooperation with the Egyptian efforts in different sites.
Well, let's look at the 5 to 10 years period. Over the next 5 to 10 years, how would you define a successful outcome for this partnership? Which key metrics, such as the FDI, diversification, or export sophistication, will best reflect real progress?
Now Egypt is trying to make some sort of progress economically and geopolitically. The European Union is a very important partner to the Egyptian agreement or the Egyptian experiment. So I think through the partnership with the European Union, we can make some sort of progress in the economic of knowledge, for example, AI, and to develop our capabilities to deal with the European market. We have very deep and good ties with the European markets, but such agreement will open the floor to the Egyptian products to the European Union. Also, we can have technologies from the European countries. In addition to that, it will facilitate the trade between the two sides. Egypt can benefit from such agreements through improving our capabilities to get into the European markets.
Yes, well, the bilateral trade is now reaching 32.5 billion euros. Do you expect specific policy measures or initiatives that were discussed at the summit to be changed or altered or redeveloped to stimulate further growth in the near term?
Yeah, I think so, because President Al-Sisi, when he visited the European Union today to visit Brussels, he was concentrating on the economic dimension of the partnership between Egypt and the European Union. So I think we have many potentials. We can also predict more and more deeply cooperation between the two sides. And also we can build new policies towards the European Union, especially President Al-Sisi rediscovered the European and the Mediterranean circles of the Egyptian foreign policy through the last few years.
There was a lot of talk about wind and solar energy, renewable energy as a whole, but what other industries or economic sectors stand to gain the most from the incoming wave of European investments here in Egypt?
Energy is a very vital part of partnership and the cooperation between the two sides, especially after the war between Russia and Ukraine. European Union will stop importing gas from Russia by the end of the next year. So Egypt will play a vital role. It has the infrastructure and also gas capabilities in order to save an alternative to the European Union in such field. In addition to that, I think the Egyptian market and the Egyptian industry now is getting more and more progress through inventing new methods and new ways of products depending on AI and modern technologies. And the Europeans can play a vital role in that sense. Egypt also is involved in COMESA with African countries and the Shanghai group and BRICS group. And I think this will promote the Egyptian potentials in dealing with the European Union and in deepen the economic partnership with the Europeans.